Almost everyone would like to know what's in store for them in the future. That is an accurate prediction. Millions of dollars are spent by people around the world to get what they consider to be an insight into their lives. But do we really want to know this? How would it affect the way we live? And also, what benefits would it be to us? With me to talk about this is Swami Ramcharan, spiritual head of the Jyoti Ashram and Hindu Learning Center in the United States. Swami, um, while many people are willing and want to know their future, is this something that people should really know?
Okay, and this you're putting up a question as that put up when humanity first took place on Earth. That is a question that humanity faced at the beginning of creation. Um, should people know the future? And it's amazing that you come up with a question so important because it was the very essence of the knowledge of the future that would help to make the universe continuity. For example, uh, if everybody divorced everybody, then everybody would have a different mother and father. That would create chaos in the world, isn't it? So what the ancient sages did says, listen, we're not going to allow this to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that everybody who marry the other person will match in such a way that there will be no discord in the world. And how they decided that is that they said, okay, um, um, if a woman's pregnant and she suffers tremendously in the pregnancy, obviously the child is going to incur all those genetical behavior. So you, of course, you call it genetics. I call it karma. But it will inherit all the bad qualities of that pregnancy. If the woman is pregnant and she's loved and she's pampered and she's taken care of, then the child will incur good qualities. Again, spiritual genetics. So what happens? You may think that that uh, the karma, the actions of the parents are not transferred. The only thing the nose or the eyes or the ears are transferred.
If I can interject, but scientifically we can't change that.
No, we can't. That and that comes to an agreement with me. That's the reason for knowing the future, for knowing what's going to happen. Because if you know ahead of time, you can prepare beforehand and avoid it. Sort of like cooking. If you know what your fried rice is going to look like, you know exactly what ingredients you have to put inside to make fried rice. You already have a vision of what your fried rice is going to look like, so that you're already predicting the future. Every one of us, each one of us, is an astrologer in our own self. We tend to say, okay, if I meet this girl, I'm going to. You envision a happy marriage life and so on. So you tend to think, okay, everything's going to be good. But when you put a drop of lemon in a glass of milk, it will turn sour. So you have to make sure that whatever mixture comes into the. See, marriage is a very important. Why I'm talking about marriage is because that's the basis of our whole existence.
You were talking about the sages.
Yeah.
Um, what yardstick or what method did they use to advise people?
Okay, the method you use, they have a timing mechanism. For example, the sun controls the day, the moon controls the month. So the moon takes 1 month to go around the earth. The moon affects the tides. I don't know if you know this, but
Yeah.
the tides are affected by the moon, and so is our blood system, which contains all the same elements as the seawater. And whenever there's a full moon, for example, operations are prohibited. Ancient sages saw that. You'll find that people who have operations on full moon usually die or usually bleed to death. More bleeding happens during full moon because of the high flush pressure
But
of
I'm
blood.
sure the technology we have today can deal with that.
But where did that technology come, if I may ask? But the whole, I think it all came from the ancient text also. Remember, the, uh, uh, the people in the madhouse, they're addressed as lunatics, luna and antic. So you'll find that people during full moon, they'll lock them up during full moon because they get more mad, because there's more rushing of blood to the brain and so on. And what happens now? You see, what happens? We have to accept the fact, and you also are asking this question, but you need to accept the fact that okay, the sun has to rise, and you have to go with that order. One can ask a question: why do you go to sleep at night? Why don't you go to sleep during the day? But you see, there's an order in the universe. So what happens now is that if there's a full moon, blood rushes to the brain just like the tides. The woman experiences her menstrual cycle. Every woman, according to their position of the moon at the time of their birth, experiences a menstrual cycle. And that menstrual cycle determines when the egg is released, what time of the month it's released, and then birth takes place. So remember this tiny, tiny egg, right, which is, when it's fertilized, is called a zygote, is not seen by the naked eye. You have to have a microscope to see that. But it's so small, but look how many genes it carries, how much it carries your eyes and nose and everything. So remember now, there's an order in the universe that which you have to accept. You cannot drive on the grass and expect to reach where you're going. You have to drive on the road. Yeah, so there's an order.
In the same context, the zygote and the genes that it contains, we have to accept that. We can't change that.
Right. There are some things you can accept, and there are some things that you can use from that acceptance to change other things. For example, it works with karma. For example, if you say, okay, I'm going to drink this poison and I'm not going to die, that's against the rules. You know you're going to die. See, you already predict the future. You know you're going to die if you drink the poison. You know you're going to get high blood pressure if you eat a lot of salt. It's already in the rules of the universe. Our problem is, and I can see where you're getting at with this question, our problem is that we refuse to accept rules of the universe. We refuse to work with the rules. Most of the time we work against the rules. Do you know that one of the wonders of the world is man really thinks that he's not going to die? Man can't, like you talk to your friends at the office, let's see you guys tomorrow. It's amazing. Man assumes he's